Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this wintry Thursday.
Yeah, we've sort of been on autopilot this week, haven't we?
I know,
Cold and cloudy all week.
Month, actually.
Yeah.
And it's going to continue. But first, we'll get to the weather. Here's making news on this Thursday. A surprise court appearance by the president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleads guilty to lying to Congress.
A Wisconsin family is suing a Mexican resort for the death of their daughter. Our Kelly Arthur will be here with the details.
And Paul Ryan is on his farewell tour. We'll see what he had to say today to Congress.
Let's take a look outside today. A little light snow overnight, just a dusting. We had a nice surprise. One of our neighbors shoveled our driveway for us.
Did you know who?
No, I don't know yet who, but I think I'm going to be making some brownies tonight.
Well, that was very nice of them.
Very nice.
Just a little, just a nuisance snow is all it was. But we're watching the weekend. Things could get interesting there. Dave Caulfield is in the backyard. Looks like a mixed bag, perhaps.
Yeah, it was me, Susan. No, it wasn't.
It was Dave.
No.
Dave, thank you.
But I do want brownies. So
you want my address?
Yeah, we'll work on getting that to happen necessarily. Hopefully, I can work on getting the weather this weekend to not happen because it could be a little bit on the messy side. Right now, we are pretty quiet on Doppler track, but as we zoom out, we could see a little bit of mixed precipitation across southeastern Iowa. This wave is our next wave that could affect portions of southern Wisconsin, mainly south of Madison overnight with a little bit of light freezing drizzle. That's what we're watching right now. Shouldn't be a major nuisance ordeal, but we'll continue to keep an eye on it. Downtown Madison, we're looking at mostly cloudy skies on the Edgewater sky cam, 31 degrees. We topped off right around the freezing mark today. East-northeast wind at 3 miles per hour. We're at 32 in Lone Rock and Mineral Point, 33 in Boscobel, and 30 degrees even in the Dells. We still see some of that snow on the rooftops in Madison on the WISC-TV sky cam. Your forecast first, we're staying in the low 30s with the clouds sticking around for tonight. And again, overnight, some of us could see a little bit of light freezing drizzle. Here is a look at your first alert traffic update. At the interstate, not looking too bad right now. No major traffic troubles really to touch on across much of Dane County. Traffic generally heading out at the posted speed. Starting to see some brake lights on the Beltline, as you might expect for this time of day. Fish Hatchery Road a little bit slow south of the Beltline, and we're starting to see a little bit more brake light activity close to John Nolan Drive, but Stoughton Road and the interstate still looking good right now. Eastbound Verona Road to John Nolan, that's 5 minutes with an average speed of around 50 miles per hour. Some other routes in and around Madison. The Beltline to Janesville, 28 minutes, so that's looking good with an average speed of around 65 miles per hour. And there's your first alert traffic update. We'll talk about some rain, some snow, some freezing rain, all possible this weekend in your first alert forecast.
Great. All right, Dave, we'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, Dave, thank you. First at 4, President Trump's former personal lawyer has admitted to lying about his contacts with the Russians.
Michael Cohen now admits he downplayed the extent of his contacts with the Kremlin while trying to broker a deal to have a Trump Tower placed in Moscow. Nicole Killian has more from the White House.
Mr. Cohen has cooperated. Mr. Cohen will continue to cooperate.
Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to lying to Congress during a court appearance in Manhattan this morning.
This is one more example of one of the president's closest allies lying about their ties to Russia and Russians.
Cohen now admits that negotiations with Russia over a Trump Tower in Moscow continued throughout the campaign and into 2017. And he says he kept President Trump in the loop the whole time.
It means that when the president was representing during the campaign that he had no business interests in Russia, that wasn't true.
Cohen's guilty plea is part of a deal with special counsel Robert Mueller. As part of the agreement, he spent dozens of hours talking with investigators.
He's a weak person.
President Trump criticized his former lawyer and said his Moscow project was perfectly legal.
He's got himself a big prison sentence, and he's trying to get a much lesser prison sentence by making up a story.
The president has repeatedly attacked the Mueller probe, saying on Twitter this morning, when will this illegal Joseph McCarthy-style witch hunt, one that has shattered so many innocent lives, ever end? Or will it just go on forever? After wasting more than $40 million, it has only proven one thing. There was no collusion with Russia. So ridiculous. In Washington, Nicole Killian for WISC News 3.
And Michael Cohen will continue to cooperate with the special counsel's probe.
President Trump and First Lady Melania left for Argentina this morning to attend the G20 summit. President Trump departed from the White House for the meeting in Buenos Aires with leaders from the world's top 20 industrialized countries. The president is scheduled to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping amid the prospect of a full-blown trade war. The U.S. levied new tariffs on China this year, and additional tariffs could be coming.
I think China wants to make a deal. I'm open to making a deal. But frankly, I like the deal we have right now.
With Russia still holding 3 Ukraine naval vessels in a territorial dispute, the president will not be meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the summit. The president tweeted, based on the fact that the ships and sailors have not been returned to Ukraine from Russia, I have decided it would be best for all parties concerned to cancel my previously scheduled meeting.
The federal government is not going to charge any of the 42 migrants that clashed with Border Patrol authorities last weekend. Tear gas was fired into the Mexico side of the border at the migrants who were associated with the caravan approaching the United States. The Associated Press has learned that the federal government decided not to prosecute the migrants despite proclamations from the Trump administration that it will not tolerate lawlessness over the caravan. A U.S. official says many came as families, which are generally exempt. The family of a Wisconsin woman who died at a Mexico resort has filed a wrongful death lawsuit.
20-year-old Abby Connor of Pewaukee died while on winter break in Mexico with her family. Our Keely Arthur is here to share why the Connor family is suing. Keely.
Yeah, this is such a sad story. 2 hours into her trip, Abby Connor was found face down in a pool. Her death was ruled accidental, but a new civil suit alleges there are people at fault. Abby Connor's family is suing the Iberostar Resort in Playa del Carmen and the U.S.-based company Visit Us, which handles its bookings. The civil complaint alleges the hotel and Visit Us knew that alcoholic beverages served at the resort were tainted and unfit for human consumption. Abby and her brother Austin took shots of tequila at the pool bar, both blacked out. Austin recovered, but Abby was declared brain dead. A year after the tragedy, we asked the president of a local travel company how he feels about vacations to Mexico. Here's what he said.
If we didn't believe it was safe, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night, and I wouldn't send my clients there. But again, remember, pack your common sense, keep it with you, and just exercise the same precautions that you would here traveling in the U.S., and you're gonna be fine.
Ed Manny, who you just heard there, says he stayed at the resort in question about a year ago. He says his experience there was a positive one. Now Iberostar has repeatedly denied any of its alcohol was tainted and said its supply chains are secure. The Connor family lawyer says the idea that Abby and Austin Connor were simply drunk is impossible. A spokesperson for Iberostar says it doesn't comment on pending litigation.
Yeah, it is a sad story indeed. All right.
So many questions.
Keep us posted. Thank you, Keely.
Thank you, Keely. There are growing calls for Alabama state authorities to release body cam videos of a deadly police-involved shooting of a black man inside a shopping mall. Police were called to investigate a fight and shooting at a mall in Hoover, Alabama, Thanksgiving night. Witnesses say a responding officer shot and killed 21-year-old E.J. Bradford, believing that he had opened fire, injuring 2 people. But police later admitted that Bradford had a legal concealed weapons permit and was not the shooter. Police say the real shooter is this man, 20-year-old Aaron Martez Daquan Brown. He was arrested outside Atlanta this morning and charged with attempted murder.
Investigations take time, and we're doing everything we can to cooperate with the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency in finding out the truth of what happened.
I gotta bury my baby boy, and it hurts me to the core.
The shooting sparked days of protests and calls for an apology from the police to the victim's family.
A New Jersey man is facing murder charges, accused of killing his brother and his brother's family, then setting fire to their mansion. Prosecutors say 51-year-old Paul Canero killed his younger brother Keith, Keith's wife, and the couple's 2 young children before setting their home on fire. The brothers were business partners in a computer company and a pest control company.
The defendant repeatedly shot and killed his brother while he was outside of the side of his home, and then moved to murder the rest of the family inside the home. We allege that Jennifer was shot and stabbed, and the 2 Canero children were repeatedly stabbed by knife.
Prosecutors say Canero set his brother's house on fire to cover up the murders. They also say he removed evidence, went back to his own home, and set it on fire. Prosecutors say the fire was a ruse to make it appear that the Canero family was being targeted. Well, Paul Ryan's farewell tour continues today in Washington.
The Speaker of the House winding down his time in Congress and offering a speech on the House floor. Our Eric Franke has more from the News Center. Eric?
Susan and Mark, this farewell tour for Paul Ryan will have a number of stops and speeches. He was slated to receive his House Budget Committee Chairman portrait today as well. Now, officially, his time in Congress will end when the 116th Congress is sworn in on January 3rd. Today on the House floor, he took time to reflect on his ascension from mailroom intern to Speaker of the House and had special words for his constituents back home.
I rise today to express profound gratitude to the people of the 1st District of Wisconsin. Anytime I get to swear in a new member like we just did, it brings me back to the time when I was first sworn in here in 1998. I remember just being awestruck the first time I walked down that center aisle. That feeling just never goes away. I still feel it when I walk onto the floor each and every time.
Now, the Speaker says his 2 biggest regrets, not successfully dealing with immigration and the national debt. He says if those things can be addressed, quote, we will have a great 21st century. Speaker Ryan told the Washington Post in an interview he feels history will be very good to his stint as Speaker because of the tax reform bill passed under his leadership. Paul Ryan's formal farewell address will take place next Wednesday. It'll be at the Library of Congress. Mark and Susan?
It is a changing of the guard.
It sure is.
All right, Eric, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Eric. Still to come tonight at 4, the weekend is upon us. Are you looking for something to do?
Emmy Fink joins us next to fill us in on what's going on in the 608 when Live at 4 continues. But first, rush hour traffic in Middleton will be slowed by a water main break. We'll tell you where it is coming up. A water main break in Middleton has closed part of a busy road.
The southbound lanes of Century Avenue in the 6700 block near Donna Drive and Frank Lloyd Wright Avenue were closed due to a water main break. Traffic is being routed to the eastbound lanes, where there will be one lane of traffic in each direction until the repairs can be made. That's expected to be done by about 6 o'clock, so that's good timing.
Avoid that area.
Oh, yeah.
The wage gap separating men and women is much wider than previously thought, according to a revealing new report. The Institute for Women's Policy Research claims women earned just 49 cents for each dollar that a man was paid over a 15-year span. That is a big difference from the census data that showed women make 80 cents for each dollar a man earns. Financial and tech stocks slipped on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials lost 27 points, closing at 25,338. The NASDAQ Composite Index dropped 18, and the S&P 500 fell almost 6. Well, it's almost the weekend in the 608.
Emmy Fink is here with a look at what's going on around town. Hi, Emmy.
Hi, Emmy.
Hey, guys.
We're ushering in December this weekend, turning a page on the calendar, and Christmas is in full swing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ready or not, you know? I mean, you just don't have a choice.
No, you don't.
A little bit of November, a little bit of December this weekend.
This is a great way to kick off the holiday season.
Oh, boy. 3 big powerhouse people come together, or I should say groups, in the music category. 2 great options. So we have the Madison Youth Choir, the Mount Zion Gospel Choir, and then the Madison Symphony Orchestra. And they come together for Madison Symphony Christmas all weekend long. You can see this one at Overture and start practicing for the audience Christmas carol sing-along.
All right, and bring your Santa hat.
La 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 la.
It's so
Bring
fun.
your Santa hat.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, everybody puts on the Santa hat.
Oh, nice. Okay, I like it.
Okay.
Don't forget it.
All right. You know, you wouldn't think of going to Oberg Gardens this time of year, but you should.
Exactly. You don't need flowers in bloom to enjoy some great music, right? Because that's exactly what's going on. This weekend kicks off a month of holiday concert series every Sunday afternoon in December. And typically, you kind of do most of your stuff on Saturday, so Sundays are kind of more relaxing. So take advantage of this. The first one is going to be jazz, but then coming up in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be Celtic, even some Latin music to get you in the spirit of the season. Again, that's every Sunday in December at 2 o'clock at Oberg Gardens.
And great surroundings, too.
That's the nice thing about Oberg.
Smells good. Like
all 4 seasons.
Full poinsettias. I mean, you don't need anything more.
Got to do a little shopping. We're running out of time.
You cannot let one weekend get away. Otherwise, you're going to be behind on that list, right? Everybody knows it. So go right to the source of some of the state's most talented artists and get one-of-the-kind gifts at the Crafty Fair. This event only takes place 3 weekends a year. Well, this is one of them, and it's going to be both Saturday and Sunday at the Brassworks building at the Goodman Center, and that's just down on Wabeesa Street. Handmade kids' shoes, coffee mugs, soaps. I was online looking at it, and they were just better. Each item was better than the next.
Great.
So.
One-stop shopping.
Exactly. And one of a kind, and you know it's coming from the person who's selling it to you, which is awesome.
Plus, it's a great chance to check out the Brassworks near the Goodman Center. It's brand new building.
You know, I've never been there.
Yeah.
Check it out.
You guys are way more cultured than I am.
All right, a family outing for Saturday morning.
All right, how does this sound? A cozy book reading. You know, it's going to be a little winter. We got a little snow on the ground. That sounds pretty nice, right? At the Madison Central Library, you can kick off your Saturday morning. Bring the kiddos. Might be a little weird if you don't bring the kiddos. So you can join award-winning children's book author and illustrator Jan Brett. You might have some of her favorites. Remember the hat and the mitten? I actually just read Leona the hat yesterday after I wrote this, but she's going to read The Snowy Nap, and Hedgie, the hedgehog, is going to make a little appearance as well. So
oh, that's nice.
Show up just to see Hedgie.
Absolutely. And it's almost the holidays.
It is almost the holidays, so how about heading to Stoughton to see Almost a Christmas Carol? Sounds pretty good, right? A delightful holiday show filled with singing, dancing, heartfelt moments, and lots of holiday cheer. The group of students are going to try to find the true meaning of the holidays. We all hope to find that this month, right? It's a wonderful family-friendly option. There's 2 great shows, 1:30 and 7:30. That takes place Saturday the 1st, right at Stoughton High School auditorium.
That should help get into the spirit.
For sure. The true meaning. That's what we all search for.
All right, Emmy. Thank you.
Great
Thanks,
to
Emmy.
see you
Have a good
guys.
one.
Lots going on.
You too. Thank you.
Get this month's Madison Magazine for all the best in the Madison area.
When we come back, the last time man stepped on the moon was 1972.
Well, today NASA unveils new plans to get astronauts back to the moon. We'll have that after Dave's forecast. Take a look at this. More than 70 wingsuit pilots get together at Skydive City in Florida, hoping to make history. There's so many people that they need 4 planes in the sky to get everybody in the air at the same time. You can see all the pilots trying to get into position. The goal is to break the current 61-person wingsuit formation record. However, they couldn't quite complete the formation and hold it long enough. Just missed beating the world record.
Well, they got pretty close.
Pretty close.
How did they not run into each other?
I know, it's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Travel is so crowded during the holidays.
The skies are just bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
They'll get them next time. It is Thursday, November 29th. As we mentioned yesterday, it's Throw Out Your Leftovers Day. That Thanksgiving turkey is no longer any good. You're going to get sick.
Yeah, it's probably for the best at this point. It's also the Customer is Wrong Day. You know the customer is always right, or the customer is never wrong. Well, sometimes the customer is wrong.
Absolutely.
I've been wrong.
Is that a weather thing?
I'm never wrong with that.
People call and complain to the weather office.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
That I'm a wrong customer. Yeah.
And it is National Chocolates Day. Forrest Gump once declared life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, we have a little assortment of
Here
chocolates.
you know what you're going to get.
Yes.
Right here.
Here you know exactly what you're going to get.
Eat chocolates. I think this Russell Stover's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, go for it. How about you, Dave?
it's
What would
caramel.
you like?
Oh, I got the Reese's.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Got one with your name on it. Maybe a little
Sounds
hot
good.
chocolate tonight,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, sounds good. And I wish I knew kind of what we were going to get this weekend because we could see rain, snow, freezing rain.
Okay, Forrest.
Sleet, yeah, exactly. I'll ask my mama what the forecast is going to be, and we'll get back to you right after this break. Welcome back to Live at 4. Well, snow lovers, it is time to hit the slopes. Check this out. Mammoth Mountain got a heavy load of fresh snow overnight. The summit expected to get 5 feet of snow with nearly 3 feet falling in town by Saturday. Of course, drivers should check transit conditions and also road conditions before heading up there. That is quite a bit of snow just in time for the season to start to peak. We've gotten about the amount of snow that we should have for this November. Right now, Madison up to 3.3 inches of snow with about an inch falling last night. Most of southern Wisconsin did pick up about a half an inch to an inch of snow. So we're close to normal for snowfall, but for total rainfall and liquid equivalency, we're actually a little bit behind where we should be. And I think that into tomorrow we're going to be dry, so that's where we're going to finish the 11th month of the year. But we do have some snow depth to talk about a half an inch to an inch of snow across much of the great state of Wisconsin. Still much less compared to our neighbors to the south and southwest, but at least we have something to brag about now. And a lot of that's still around because temperatures did get a little bit above freezing, but not much melting occurred today. Doppler track is quiet across southern Wisconsin. The snow that affected us last night well off to the north and east, but notice we have another wave trying to make its acquaintance to us. We see that we have some rain and also some freezing rain showing up across portions of southeastern Iowa. This wave will continue to move closer to southern Wisconsin and could affect us with a little bit of freezing drizzle and maybe some snow and sleet overnight as well, especially south of Madison. Doesn't appear to be a major deal, but we'll go ahead and keep that slight chance of that precipitation in the forecast for the overnight hours. Downtown Madison, no rain or freezing rain to talk about right now. On the Edgewater Sky Cam, just looking at those cloudy skies. 32 the high today, still about 5 degrees below where we should be, so another cold day. And actually the colder than normal November could come into play this weekend when we talk about a possibly messy forecast. More on that in just a little bit. Temperatures right now in the low 30s for Madison and Watertown, mid 30s in Janesville, 30 even in Waukesha. The Dell is up to Camp Douglas. Wind chill's not that bad because the wind is not that bad. So that's a pretty simple equation right there. But it could be a little bit dicey on the roadways for Saturday and Sunday. So we do have alert days in the forecast for this weekend for the threat of some freezing rain and then getting to the rain. By the time we get to Sunday, another chance for some mixed precipitation. Then the rain comes back and possibly everything ending as snow. So that's a lot to cover here. First, we need to kind of go over, when we talk about mixed precipitation, how that forms. So we have 4 main precipitation types. We have rain, snow, obviously the 2 big ones, but also freezing rain and sleet. We also have grapple, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Sorry, maybe at the family reunion in a couple of weeks. So when the air is above freezing, we get rain because everything melts and the rain falls to the surface of the earth. However, when we get kind of a shallower area of warm air, that's when some problems can arise. So if we get that snow to melt and then turn into rain, but right before we get to the ground, there's a little bit of cold air. That water can freeze on contact. That's how we get freezing rain, and that can be really, really dangerous because it's pretty tough to predict. If that air, that warm air, is a little bit smaller, the atmosphere has time to freeze that precipitation once again. That's how we get sleet and snow. If it's cold pretty much everywhere, we get that snow to fall from the cloud to the ground. So we could see a little bit of everything as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully we don't, but we'll be on the lookout for that. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a slight chance of mixed precipitation, especially south of Madison. Temperatures in the 20s. For tomorrow, variably cloudy, not as cold. Highs will be in the upper 30s, and it's really when we talk about temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, close to 40, that some of these problems can arise. And just a couple of degree difference in temperatures can make a big difference whether you see rain or freezing rain or snow. So not too much expected in the way of mixed precipitation overnight, but that slight chance is there. So be aware as you start the day on Friday that there could be a slick spot or two. Then actually variably cloudy skies giving us some clearing on Friday. We get the clouds to come back, and then starting on Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, oh boy, you don't like to see colors like this, but possibly some heavy rain and some snow also mixing in. Could be some freezing rain as well. Still a little bit too early to talk specifics with this. Very hard to predict these mixed precipitation events, so we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep the alert days in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday. Really, the periods of time that we're watching very closely are the mornings on Saturday morning and Sunday morning, because that's when those temperatures could be close to that threshold to get some mixed precipitation. We're much quieter into next week as we start December, but a couple of opportunities for some snowfall as well. Those highs closer to the 20s.
Oh, that freezing rain is so dangerous.
It really needs to, just don't even bother coming this weekend, okay? It's not a holiday weekend.
Just stay home.
Yeah, just stay home and stay aware this weekend, that's for sure.
We'll keep an eye on it.
You know that grapple gets no respect.
I'm sorry, Grapple. I'm very sorry.
Those are like little snow crystals, right?
Little snowball things.
Yep,
Okay.
like Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots, that's right.
Okay, thank you. Well, America's space agency unveiled a new plan today for getting back to the moon.
As Meg Oliver reports, maybe even beyond.
Very excited about.
NASA says it's opening a brand new chapter in lunar exploration.
We're doing it in a way we've never done before.
Administrator Jim Bridenstine says private companies are now a key part of moon missions.
Lockheed Martin.
He introduced 9 commercial partners that will compete as a kind of delivery service, bringing experiments and equipment to the lunar surface.
We want multiple providers that are competing on cost and innovation, so that we as NASA can do more than we've ever been able to do before and advance the human spirit.
Guess you believe we're here now, huh?
America's last moon landing was in 1972 on Apollo 17. Since then, a combination of technical and financial concerns have delayed a return voyage. NASA now promises the long wait is over, that its new partnerships will bring space exploration back to the moon and beyond.
We're going to the moon. We're going to retire risk, we're going to prove capability and technology, and ultimately we want to take it all the way to Mars.
Touchdown confirmed.
Just days ago, NASA celebrated the landing of the InSight spacecraft on Mars. They're saying the first lunar deliveries could happen in 2019. That would be 50 years since the U.S. first put a man on the moon.
Oh, it's beautiful, Mike, it really is.
Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
You don't get tired of seeing that video.
No, you never do.
Well, there's more to come at 4. Do your car's headlights light up the road enough at night?
When we come back, maybe not as well as they should. We'll show you the latest in headlight technology when Live at 4 continues.
A shot of the Memorial Union Terrace. I think a lot of people are outside there today, but it looks nice and warm inside. A new report suggests auto manufacturers are making improvements with headlights.
But some cars are still leaving drivers in the dark. Kenneth Craig reports from New York.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says nearly half of the headlights on the 2018 model vehicles it tested don't adequately light the road.
Lighting is an option that manufacturers allow consumers to upgrade. And so many vehicles have 2 to 3 different headlight variants to choose from.
David Aylor oversees the IIHS Active Safety Testing Department and says the best headlights usually do not come with the standard package. Exceptions are the Genesis G90 and the Lexus NX luxury vehicles.
The consumer goes to buy a G90, no matter what trim or package they select, they can be confident that they're going to get good rated headlights.
Dozens of other 2018 models have good or acceptable rated headlights as options. Tests showed low beam LED headlights performed better than halogen. The driver of the Hyundai Kona, equipped with LED headlights, clearly sees the pedestrian at 140 feet and a deer at 220, but the halogen headlights underperformed.
It's important for consumers to look at our ratings or to test drive vehicles at night in order to understand how well the headlights perform.
The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety says since it started releasing headlight ratings 2 years ago, manufacturers have made improvements, but more can be done.
It's important to have good rated headlights because about half of fatalities occur at night, and many of those occur on unlit roads.
Experts say properly aimed and illuminated headlights will help make the roads safer.
Kenneth Craig for WISC News 3.
Boy, that was interesting with the deer, wasn't it?
It's a shame that you have to pay extra to get the better lights.
Yeah, it's true. It makes a big difference, yeah.
Well, still to come at 4, Saturday is the 30th annual World AIDS Day, a time to remember and to celebrate life.
UW Health is sponsoring a community gathering tonight to mark the anniversary. We'll have more when Live at 4 continues.
Good afternoon. Here's your first alert traffic update, taking a live look at I-94 at Wisconsin 142. Things looking pretty good in both directions, and across Dane County, the accident near Marshall earlier has been cleared, so no major accidents or incidents to report. However, we are noticing the normal slowdowns on the Beltline, lots of yellow and red showing up, and average speed in that stretch that you're seeing right here, about 25 to 30 miles per hour. Here are your drive times. 10 minutes, so a little bit slow to say the least. Verona Road to John Nolan Drive eastbound, average speed of around 25 miles per hour. And the other direction is looking pretty nice. Verona Road to University Ave westbound, 6 minutes with an average speed right around 55 miles per hour. And that's your first alert traffic update.
All right, Dave, thank you. Tourists on this whale-watching boat in California got their money's worth. A close encounter with a humpback whale and a calf. The mother captured on video. The water from the whale's blowhole capturing light and creating a stunning rainbow effect.
They are so magnificent.
Yeah, they really are. Spectacular animals. Well, World AIDS Day is this Saturday. World AIDS Day takes place on the 1st of December every year.
It's an opportunity to show solidarity with the millions of people living with HIV worldwide. UW Health is sponsoring a community gathering tonight in honor of World AIDS Day. Dr. James Sussman, the director of the HIV clinic at UW Hospital, joins us now. Great to see you. Welcome back to Live
Thank you.
4.
Thank you for inviting me here.
So there's a reason we celebrate this in December. What is that reason?
Yeah, we really recognize it. The first cases were really
Recognize
described
is a better word, yeah.
and really celebrate the work that people have done and the ongoing mission. Was really in December of 1981, the edition of the New England Journal of Medicine came out with 3 reports that really were the tip of the iceberg around HIV, described this unusual pneumonia happening in some gay men. And that turned out to be the tip of what we've now seen as probably 80 million worldwide cases, about 40 million deaths, but 38 million to 40 million people living with HIV and living much better today.
30 years, and we're still talking about this. Are we any closer to finding a cure or prevention?
You know, the cure is still, there's some great research, some of it done here at UW, that's going on around cure work. However, the more likely than not is that we're really working on prevention. And there are some things. First of all, patients that take their medicine, their risk of transmitting HIV, if they take it regularly, is pretty much almost zero. So that's a big deal. And likewise, people that aren't infected, they can take a medicine called Truvada or pre-exposure prophylaxis. We use the acronym PrEP. And they take a pill once a day, and it can really reduce their risk of getting HIV.
Is that reducing new diagnoses dramatically?
That's new diagnoses. We are just starting to see the benefits of these treatments. In fact, although we still have 2 million new infections in the world, that's down at least 40% from maybe 8 years ago. And so we still have work to do, but right now globally, where a lot of action has happened, of the 38 million people living with HIV, 22 million are on antiretroviral therapy.
Here in Wisconsin, who's most at risk of new infections?
You know, pretty much everybody can be at risk, anyone that's sexually active, but men who have sex with men still are the highest risk group, and African American, Hispanic, men of color who have sex with men it's a very risky, usual group. But all of us can be.
And younger.
Without a doubt. Of the new infections, most likely in Wisconsin, it's going to be in an individual 25 or younger. So young, not really perceiving themselves necessarily at risk.
Is that because of a false sense of confidence, maybe, that the medications have been so successful, or?
Probably some of that, and also, you know, youthful indiscretion, whatever you might want to call it. That's still the same group that has the most sexually transmitted infections, and teen pregnancies are a big issue, especially in Wisconsin. And because of all those things, I think HIV is just one of many factors that young people may or may not consider.
And the medication has come leaps and bounds from when it started. I mean, people were taking 10 pills, have to get up at 2 in the morning to take pills, and now it's just a pill or 2 a day.
That's right. In fact, most common combinations are a single pill co-formulated with 3 or more medicines in them, taken once a day, and the side effect profiles compared to 20 years ago, there's no comparison. These are very well tolerated, and we project today, you know, under the best circumstances, a 20-year-old starting treatment for HIV could live into their 70s. That's really, we expect them to live another 50 years.
But is it still the devastating diagnosis that it once was?
You know, it can be, you know, as you noted, you know, death rates in the United States have dropped dramatically, but they're not zero. Likewise, internationally, death rates are really starting to fall, but still 2 million, a million people are still dying of HIV every year. So yes, we have treatments. Getting them to people, getting people to take them regularly is still a challenge. So unfortunately, we're not going to be put out of business too soon.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but making strides.
We definitely are, without a doubt.
All right, the World AIDS Day Community Gathering is tonight from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Goodman Community Center on Waubesa Street. It's going to be a celebration of life and remembering those that we've lost.
Thank you.
Doctor, thanks for being with us
Thank
today.
you for being with us. Good to see you.
We'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. Some people make it a little schmitz tonight.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Yeah, we can make it. That's a good descriptor for this stuff that really nobody wants. But it is possible. We're watching that patch of rain, kind of snow, maybe some freezing drizzle and sleet in southeastern Iowa. It continues to move to the east and southeast. So overnight, some of us could see a little bit of freezing drizzle, maybe some snow and sleet, especially south of Madison. Shouldn't be a major deal, but something to keep an eye on. Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam, not too much snow left over. Platteville didn't really get a lot of snow from this last little wave that came in. Tonight, mostly cloudy, slight chance of mixed precipitation, temperatures in the 20s.
And keep an eye out for the weekend if you're traveling.
Oh, yes.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Tomorrow here on Live Before, our Michael Bruno goes backstage for the Verona Area Community Theater's production of A Christmas Story, the musical.
And Lola and Louie have the top animal stories of the week. I love this shot.
This was taken a little earlier. It wasn't taken today.
The Lowdown is coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, a shoe retailer known for low prices pulls off an elaborate prank.
It convinced prominent fashionistas to buy their shoes for hundreds of dollars. Payless shoes, you know, that you could pay more, but wise stores finally found a good reason to pay more, punking social media influencers. The retailer set up a fake luxury shoe store called Palisa and loaded it with their discount